Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a really cool Monarch wooden wall telephone, and this is Mark's telephone from Washington. And all in all, this telephone's in very good condition. It's got a real nice wooden cabinet and shelf. There are some issues with this telephone. Mark wants the receiver capsule handset cloth cord replaced. His spit cup has got a big chip out of it, so we're going to replace that. Also, there's a bell issue. Somebody kind of worked on the bell through the years, and we'll get to that in a second as soon as we open the telephone up. He also has a plate that he's purchased, and it's the Monarch cover plate, and this plate will go in this area as soon as we finish up the conversion of the telephone. So we'll go ahead and set that aside. He's also sent in another solenoid for the bell, which I'm not sure that it would be the right one. We probably will not use that. We'll have to see what we're going to get into with the bell issue, and I'll show you that as soon as we open up the cabinet. Someone has worked on the original bell and added a subset. Another issue is when you crank this telephone, it doesn't ring anything, so we'll have to go through the magneto and check that out and see what's going on there. What we're going to be doing to this telephone is also installing a newer style receiver capsule in the receiver and a newer style mic, a network board, and a keypad. So we're going to be putting a keypad on the inside of this telephone. And we'll go ahead and open it up now. And as you can see, there's an original capacitor in the door. And then there is the solenoid for the bell on the back side. Now somebody's worked on this and they have it all locked up. So we're going to go through that solenoid and bell situation and kind of try to straighten that out. And if we can, we're going to utilize the original solenoid and bell. He's got his magneto here, his induction coil, hook switch. Everything seems to be on the inside of this telephone that should be here, except for this older style subset bell. And we don't need that. We're going to remove that, and I'm not really sure why somebody would have added that unless it was somebody that really didn't know how to work on these older style telephones, because you shouldn't need that subset. There's no need for it, and why they installed it is beyond me. So obviously we're dealing with a telephone that has been somewhat fiddled with, and so we're going to have to go through it and see what they've done. It was obviously someone who did not know what was going on, and they added that to try to get it to ring, and at this point it does not ring. So we'll just have to see what we get into as we're moving forward in the repair of this telephone. And this is the initial check out of this telephone. It's in very good condition, and we're going to give you some still pictures of it as we do the video. Kind of gives you a look at it. So we're going to take a break now, and we're going to start the conversion and the repair of this telephone. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we are finished up with this telephone, and we're going to run through what went on with this telephone while we were repairing it and converting it. We replaced the receiver capsule line with a cloth cord like it had, only this is a new one. So Mark wanted that replaced, and we replaced it. We also replaced the receiver capsule with a newer style, and we also installed a newer style microphone element. That way, Mark will have the quality in transmit and receive that he wants using it every day. Also, he wanted a keypad installed in this telephone. We also put his plate that he had. It's a Monarch telephone manufacturing company plate. We installed that. We went through the bells and got that straightened out. The bell was in really bad shape, and somebody had started to put this bell, which is to the period of the telephone, in this and install it in this telephone, but they never finished it because there was parts missing off the bell, and so we took care of all that. We'll go ahead and open the telephone here, and went through and rewired everything the way we need it to be wired so that the telephone will work. And like I said, there was pieces missing off this bell. It actually had never been really mounted. It's to the period, but it was missing parts, and it had to be notched out for your magnet on your bell also, and that was never done. And so I'm sure there was quite a few little changes that this telephone went through the years, like this capacitor. Somebody added that and installed that there. We also have our keypad installed now. We've created our circuit so that when you walk up to this telephone and crank the magneto and ring the bells, it does not backfeed voltage into the telephone line. So that's pretty important. We don't want to backfeed any voltage into the telephone line. I don't think it would hurt anything. It's just not a good idea to do that. So we also installed a modular port, and there was already a hole on the back side of this telephone. So now Mark can simply bring in any line cord, any length, any color he chooses, and go ahead and plug it right into the modular port, and it makes for a simple, clean connection. And so that's all been squared away. So we're finished up, and we're ready to do our checks with this telephone. Now, on this keypad board that we have here, it's a pretty neat situation because it has a volume control. This wheel can be spun up and down for volume on the receive. It has a mute, and you want to manually push that and then take it off manually. Has last number redialed. It also has a flash button. It has an on and off button. That's manual, but you want to leave it on all the time because we use our hook switch to turn the telephone off and turn it back on. So, and then of course we have our keypad. So we're going to do our checks now. I'm going to go ahead and ring the telephone with the analyzer. We're going to let that go a couple times. I'm going to give you some dial tone. Now we also want to crank the telephone and ring it. Another thing that we can do is we can take the handset off the receiver capsule, and every time I start to turn the crank, it'll disconnect the line. So we can be assured that anytime you walk up to this telephone and it's plugged into the line or to the regular line, and you go to crank the telephone to ring the bell, that it will not backfeed voltage into the telephone line. So we know that for sure now. We want to go ahead and give you some dial tone. And I'm going to use the keypad to dial out now. If you watch the analyzer, and I'm going to end in a 2. I'm going to hit flash and redial, and it'll end in a 2. Now what I want to do is I want to tap on the transmitter here. If you watch this red light, you can actually see that that's 100% modulation on transmit every time I tap on that light. So we have plenty of transmit. We don't have to worry about that. Another thing I want to show you is I want to hang up the telephone. I want to give you dial tone. I want to turn up and turn down. That would be low. High. Low. We'll dial our numbers one more time. End in a 2. We can simply hit flash and redial. So it's a keypad with a little extra. And so now he's got all the comforts of having like basically a regular telephone inside this telephone, and without the door open you'd never know that he could have all the capabilities that he does with this telephone. These keypads make for really cool conversions inside these telephones when we can get a hold of them. We don't get a hold of these too often. Sometimes we just have to use the regular keypads, but these are amplified, and they're really cool to use when we get a chance to have them and use them. So another thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and move this telephone over to a regular line, and we'll make a call like, say, a time and temp. I'm going to turn it down some. We'll go about halfway. And I'll go ahead and call it time and temp.
Good evening. 2 Ford stores, 1 great company. Offenburg Ford, a short drive.
And I'll turn it down all the way.
Today is Sunday, October 14th. The time is 6:54. Current temperature 69 degrees. Now the Belleville area weather forecast. Mostly clear tonight and Monday. Low tonight around 50. Monday's high mid-60s to low 70s.
Okay. We can turn it up all the way. And what we'll do is hang up. I'll call my number and it'll be busy. We'll go ahead and move the telephone over to the analyzer again. We want to crank the bells. And then we'll ring it with the analyzer. Give you some dial tone. We'll turn it down some. Now another option I want to show you is, since there's an off and on button on the keypad, I can simply turn it off right there. But we don't want to use it in that mode. We want it on all the time. And it is a manual switch. So basically we're going to be using the hook switch of this of the telephones, but you could turn it off right here too. But we basically want to leave that on all the time. Give you some dial tone. And then you simply hang up. I'm sure Mark's going to enjoy this telephone as soon as he gets it installed and is able to use it whenever he wants to. It's just a great example of a beautiful telephone. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.